Oh, there we go. My career highlights here. I've performed over 6,000 engagements to date. I have produced 12 CDs. I've performed in 5 countries, and I added it up, 25 states. My biggest year was 2017. I did 510 engagements in the year. 2018, I really dropped off. I was at 506. And my biggest career highlight was I was once kissed by Judge Judy.
Were you guilty?
That's a true story. She was dancing with a grandchild, and I got done playing the song, and she, "You're wonderful!" Kissed me right on the cheek. So anyway, man, it's my biggest moment. Anyway, so I have a mission statement and a vision statement because I choose to run my music business as a business. And we'll get into more of that a little bit, but my mission statement is to provide musical services for individual clients and public venues that entertains, uplifts, and inspires. Music is one of those great artistic gifts that can really reach and touch people in ways that words can't, or the ways that other things can. My vision statement is to expand the awareness of music being a viable means of supporting oneself, to establish new venues and new ideas that will forward the prestige and the awareness of the musical artists. So this is a big one because as we get into things that I do, I provide entertainment for parties, entertainment for clubs. Matter of fact, tomorrow night I'll be performing right around the corner at the American Fusion Cafe. A friend of mine, Tito, we all know Chef Tito, he's a wonderful guy. I've been working with Tito for about 10 years, and his food is amazing, his cafe is amazing, and his entertainment's just off the charts incredible, just put it out there. I'm also a professional songwriter, and a lot of people, I'll explain this a little bit. I approach songwriting a little bit differently. A lot of people, when they think they're writing a song, they're trying to write a hit song. I actually write songs for individuals, for people. I can write legacy songs. So if you have somebody in your life that's turning 80 or a milestone anniversary, things like that, I can actually write a song about their life and their story and present that to them, and I do that for hire. I'm actually working on one right now for a lady's grandmother, and she's going to present it to her family as a Christmas gift. It's a little bit different, you know, it's my approach. I mean, yeah, and there is the avenue of writing songs with the hopes that somebody will, you know, pick it up and mass produce it, and of course that's a big payday. But I find that this is my little niche, and I'm very comfortable with that. I do concerts for causes. I'm involved in fundraisers. I was here a couple of weeks ago at iWorks for the wine dinner, and Zach and I both performed for that. And I also do something you'll see in the flyer that I passed out on the tables. I do guitargrams, where basically it's my version of singing telegrams, and that comes in any kind of presentation. I can do it with flowers, I can do it with balloons, I can, you know, I don't dress up in a gorilla suit. I've not gone that far with it, but I normally can also do song parodies for people. So I'll take a popular song and I'll change the words to it to do something funny for somebody when I go out and do a guitargram. It's normally a big laugh, a lot of people have fun, and it's one of the services that I provide. So, my most common question in my career, I wish I had $1 for every time somebody asked me this: what is my day job? And, you know, I've come up with some comical answers over the years. When I was really young and I was snarky, I used to say, well, I sell drugs to school children. But then I thought, no, that's probably, they might even believe that. So I stopped that. And so one of the funniest examples I gave was, I had a friend of mine, we would always go out and we would play golf. Now, I'm a horrible golfer, but we would play for $1 a hole. You know, if I won the hole, I won $1. If he won a hole, he won $1. So I used to tell people that my day job, I was a professional golfer. And I might have earned 20 bucks in my whole life as a golfer, but it doesn't pay the bills, So there's a lot of different ways to make a living as a professional musician, and I wanted to highlight them. Of course, I do gigs, I play in clubs, I do concerts, I do private events. There's also teaching. People make a career out of teaching music. There's also being a sound engineer. There's plenty of sound studios in the Kansas City area. If you're more behind the scenes and you like that, you can do artist management. You can also do event coordinating. A gentleman I brought here a couple of weeks ago, his name is Mark Valentine. He's a master at creating events. And not necessarily just musical events, but he was the one that created the Poodle Parade, if you remember when that was going on in Kansas City. There's also being a recording artist and a touring musician. There's a lot that goes into that. There's, in some cases, a strand of luck that might be required, but also I believe that hard work is another way to make that happen. There's also music retail. People do quite well, passionate about selling equipment. As I mentioned earlier, you can make money as a songwriter, also a song arranger. Every high school band, every college band, they have music that they get from somewhere. And there are people out there like me that can arrange music for different ensembles. I can arrange for concert band, I can arrange for jazz band, I can arrange for marching band, symphonic band, whatever it takes. I have the capabilities and the talents to do that. So that's another avenue. Musical director, choral director, possibly. I've been a music director at a church. It's been a means of income. You can also be a symphony performer. One of Zach's teachers growing up was he played in the Starlight Orchestra. He played in the St. Joe's Symphony, he played in the Liberty Symphony, and he was just going, and then he also played at Worlds of Fun and some of their little quirky little ensembles that walk around. And again, theme park performer. I had the luck of one time being a guitarist that worked at Disney. I did weddings at Disney. So that was quite an interesting experience. So there are a lot of different ways that you can make a living in music. I've always been confused when somebody says, "What's your day job?" Because it's like, what about what I do doesn't look legitimate, or and so this is part of what my mission and my passion is, to sort of try to change the perception that, when you see an artist out in public, it doesn't necessarily have to be a weekend warrior. It could be somebody who is actually, presenting themselves in a professional way. That's one of the reasons. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm still one of the few musicians that I know that come and do early morning networking groups. My best friend is named Coffee. And so I love that. And I think it's funny because my son sends me a message at 3 o'clock in the morning. "Hey, what time do we have to be there tomorrow?" So he's more the late night, foundation kind of guy. So, and the other thing too, being a parent and being the parent of a musician, he's very gifted in the sciences and in the math. He was a brilliant mathematician, this kid. And everybody wants to steer children like that, into the sciences, into the the engineering kind of side of things. And I've had other parents of friends who've had talented children that have steered them away from a career in the arts. And I fear that is such a shame. A shame that you can't encourage that child to express themselves. What does it take to be successful in music? The number one thing, without question, is faith. And that, can mean a lot of different things. It can mean faith in your God. It can mean faith in yourself, and faith in what you're doing, faith in how you show up, faith is the number one thing, because there's times where, just like any other business you're in, I know there's some people in the insurance business, I know there's people in some other businesses. No matter what business you're in, you're going to face challenges, and you're going to look in the mirror and say, oh God, it would just be so much easier to just go get a paycheck. Who's ever felt that way? Let me hear you. Let me hear you. For the special self-employed, oh, it'd just be so much easier to just go work for somebody. I ain't got to deal with all this. Well, there's a trade-off to that, and you know that. And there's no fault if you do, but there is a trade-off. You know, there's a whole set of rules that you have to follow as an employee and things like that. And for those entrepreneurial spirits, sometimes it can feel like you're a caged bird. I've tried it. I've done it. I normally, if I do something else on top of doing music, I generally will last less than a year, just because I'm so used to thinking on my own and doing my own thing. The other thing that makes you successful in music is persistency, continually showing up, doing things like networking, you know, getting out and looking for work, looking for opportunities, creating your opportunities, dedication to your business. This is a business. This is what I do for a living. I have to work this as a business. If I don't work it as a business, it's just like any other business. It goes down the tubes. You have to be true to yourself. You have to really look in the mirror and be honest with yourself and say, you know, who am I? What am I doing? And you know, yeah, you go through those dark nights of the soul. You go through those moments where you're just like, wow, man, you know, am I really all that? Or, you know, and you really do face those dark moments, and you have to know who you are. But see, these things that I'm telling you are not just unique to being a musician. They apply to all businesses. Continue to develop your craft. You know, if you're not learning, you're dying. Create your own unique opportunities. Like, for instance, if I go back to my songwriting, when I started writing songs for people, for individuals, such as everybody in this room has a story. Everybody and every company has a story in this room. How would you tell that story in song? Some people tell it in the form of a jingle. Some people tell it in the form of an informational video. But this was my own unique opportunity to say, well, you got to worry about selling a song to somebody in Nashville. I want to sell a song to my friends. Somebody who I've had people cry when I've performed a song that I'd written about them. So the best thing is not believing the lie that music is not a viable means of income. And you can insert any business in here. Not believing in the lie that what you do is not a viable source of income. You know, I heard one of the people, I think it was you're a web designer?
Yes.
Web designer. 25, 30 years ago, that didn't exist, right? You know, if you would have said you were a web designer 30 years ago, people were like, what? What's a web designer, you know? But, you know, you have to believe in yourself. You have to have that ability to think beyond the walls of people's minds. Ways that you can help the artistic community. Probably the biggest one is encourage those young people who are artists that express a desire. Don't dissuade them. Let them be who they are. Let them be, you know, I could have looked at my son and said, you know, son, you know, you'd be a great engineer, but you wouldn't have heard a beautiful saxophone this morning. And that can really move your soul. What's really more important is moving your soul, in my humble opinion. Support local artists. If you have some friends that are musicians, you know, and you have an opportunity, go out and support them. You know, show your appreciation for the local arts. Be aware of what they are doing has merit. You know, it's, well, what's your day job? Erase that question from your speech. Buy their products when it's available. I look around here, we have beautiful art on the walls, and we appreciate this art. Do we appreciate it enough to support it? And if you really start looking at that, and not only music but art and things like that, how can you support this beauty that's around you? It's a gift. It's beautiful pictures on the wall. And I guess another one thing is, I tell this funny story. About maybe 15 years ago, I was working, and of course I was performing all the time. I had a mortgage, had a car payment, had all the regular bills everybody else does. And my mom says to me one time over dinner, "Man, son, I sure hope you make it one day." I said, "Well, what's your idea of making it?" I am living as a musician. I am paying my bills as a musician. What's next? I mean, okay, so maybe I'm not playing to 3,000 seat arenas or 50,000 seat arenas, and maybe I'm not on, but Garth Brooks and I have the very same thing on our tax returns. He's just a little bit higher up there, okay? But I used to, son, I just hope you make it. So the perception of it is that if you're not a famous person, that you've, quote, not made it. I had very intentional choices when my children were young. I loved the fact that I could walk them to school. I didn't have to walk them to school and fight off paparazzi and things like that. It's like there's a price to pay for that fame, and not everybody is cut out for it. And honestly, I don't think I am. So I'm very blessed in my role as a local musician. And also, when I'm playing in a club and I go around and I meet people individually, I say, I can touch this person, and there's not this awe factor of like, oh, it's Garth Brooks. If Garth Brooks walked up to your table and he was playing in a club, you'd freak out. Or some other famous person. I'm probably not going to freak you out, and if I do, then you're creepy. Or you're obsessed in some way. So I think that just being able to connect people to music and being an artist is a very, very special gift. And I've always considered it a sacred meeting. When I meet somebody and I say, thank you for enjoying the music tonight. And they say, oh, thank you, or you played well, blah, 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 blah. It's such a gift. It's such a beautiful moment. And it's not shrouded in, oh my God, he's bigger than I am or something. It's none of that. So anyway, so that's some of the ways. And then we were going to do another song for you, if you're up to it. You think you'd like to hear another song? Son, you hit a wrong note in measure 43. You're grounded.
You only heard the one in 43, you know?
Questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
For you, how did you get so good? And when did you decide to get serious about it? And how did you get there?
So, I never got good. That's I don't know. Whenever I got good, I don't know. I sort of feel like I never got good, honestly. I started taking it seriously once I got into 8th grade, you know, and I did jazz band for the first time. I remember I did my first solo in jazz band. It was Jingle Bell Rock. It was an 8-bar solo. And I remember I probably sounded so bad, but everybody gave me compliments afterwards, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna like take this seriously. And then from there, I wound up joining like a community jazz band, and whenever I joined the community jazz band, a lot of the players were really good, and they like made like all-state jazz band, and I was like, oh, whenever I'm in high school, I want to make all-state jazz band. Then I did, and now I'm here. And I'm in college, it's my senior year, and so I've learned a lot in college, which has been nice, and now I guess the goal is to be a professional musician, which I make all my money doing music now, because I sing and play guitar too, and I use like a loop pedal to play, you know, saxophone, so I don't know, if that answers your question.
I just want to add that Zach is my substitute when I can't do a gig. I'll call Zach, and that's really good because that's money I don't have to let him borrow or anything. Any other questions?
I was just going to ask if, do you read music or do you do it all by ear?
Both. I first learned how to play the guitar by playing by ear. I took saxophone in band. I took chorus, and so I learned how to read music by other vehicles. And likewise, I think Zach started out reading music, but he also has developed quite an ear.
Yeah, I would actually, so I started off playing music, but I started playing with Dad so often that a lot of times I was doing everything by ear, because he just, what would happen is he would start playing a song and he wouldn't tell me the key signature, and so I'd just be behind him and I'd like be like, you know, like trying to figure out what the heck he's playing, because I didn't know any of the songs or the keys. And then I learned how to play guitar so I could look at his fingers and figure out what he was playing. And that's how my music career started. Thanks to my TikTok.
My inadequacies pushed me to a new level.
There you go.
Any other questions?
Will you play a request?
Sure.
Do you still get nervous anytime you do a gig?
I'm shaking right now. No. You know, I will say though that yeah, there was a time. You know, certainly the first couple of years you're playing live, you're a lot more self-conscious. You know, I think over the years I've done so many gigs that no, I'm not nervous anymore. You know, there's certain situations that I'm a little bit more, I have a heightened awareness of. The one that comes to mind, and I've had some since then, was the New Year's Eve gig of 2000 when we were going into the year 2000. And the money I was making was the most money I'd ever made on a night at that time. And I was sweating bullets because I had incorporated a new drummer into my band, and we had never played together. And I was nervous, and I mean, he had great credentials and everything, so I was confident, but I was nervous. And so, yeah, it was more situational and, you know, wanting to nail something, but not nervous as far as performing in front of people. You know, it's just sort of what I do. It's, you know, it's just what I do.
So,
just real quick, family dynamics, you know, are tough these days. I just think it's really cool that you guys have, you know, found a bond through music, and you can really tell that. So.
Oh, thank you.
Just how it's worth.
Yeah, I don't like him otherwise. No, it has been a great bonding experience, you know, at least for me, I think for Zach as well, and it is a great thing that we share. It's a, you know, and it helps. He's an exceptional young man that even without music, he would thrive in life. He's a really gifted student, very, very smart, and I'm glad that I can at least impart what little wisdom I have in the music business to him, because I think he's going to far exceed everything that I've done. And I'll tell you this honestly, that this young man is already so far ahead of me theoretically. He knows things about music theory that I've never stopped to take the chance and the time to learn, just because I really didn't really have a focus on it. But he can spell you any chord. If you give him a C sharp minor 7 flat 5 chord, he can tell you all the notes in the chord and what modes it's in and all that kind of stuff. And you know, I can't do that. He can do it on the fly. And so he's much more skilled in the music side. You know, we both write music, we both score music. He has a deeper understanding of music already at his age than I ever have.
Yeah. Great job, guys. That was wonderful. I know I can't wait to support you guys and see you guys out here in the local Kansas City community. If it's okay with everyone else, I was wondering if you could play maybe just one more song.
Sure. Yeah, he had a request. What's your request?
Mine was going to be out of the wind